Last year's glorious 25th anniversary season signaled the start of a new World Challenge. The grid is primed for a non-stop sprint. This is how racing should be. This is the Pirreli World Challenge, now on CBS Sports Network.
Joining us, Jeremy, a long winter break. It's so exciting not only to see you, but to see cars back on the streets of St. Petersburg. It's been a long time overdue.
It certainly has. The first race of the weekend here on the streets of St. Petersburg. This is going to be round 3 of the Pirreli World Challenge for 2015. There's going to be 2 races for the GTS category this weekend. There's going to be 2 races also for GT as well. This is the first race of 2 then for GTS category. Quick rundown of the grid as the cars are on their pace lap. Starting from the pole position will be kind of a 50, Dean Martin. That's the Pictures Cars East Ford Mustang Boss 302. Alongside him, making his debut in the series this year, driving the car, the iTrackZone.com Ford Mustang Boss 302 in car number 87, Spencer Pumpelly. Row 2 of the grid, Mark Wilkins, who was a strong finisher a few weeks ago in the first round at Circuit of the Americas, and he was running very strong there. He finished in the top 3 of the championship last year. That is the Kia Optima, car number 38. Alongside him on row 2, car number 32, Andrew Aquilante in the Performance Ford Mustang Boss 302. On row 3 of the grid, Ben Klukas in car number 36, the second of the Kia Optimas. Alongside him, car number 37, Kurt Resitano in the Performance Ford Mustang. Row 4 of the grid, on the inside, car number 10, Michael Cooper, the Black Dog Speed Shop Chevrolet Z28. We are getting ready to go green very shortly. The pace car has pulled into the pit lane. The grid is going to line up on the starting lineup. This is going to be a standing start. Jeff Lepper is with us, and Jeff, this is going to be a very exciting race. They had 2 very brief practice sessions yesterday. Well, 1 practice and 1 qualifying. This is going to be an interesting race because the sun has now come out. Conditions quite different to how they were yesterday, in fact, because it was a lot hotter yesterday, and we are in for an exciting race. What a great job that Spencer Pumpelly did to put that car on the front row of the grid.
Correct, yeah, his first time here, and thank you once again, Jeremy, for getting our show started here. Watch out backwards with your points leader, Chris Wilson. Had a broken drive shaft yesterday before that practice session and qualifying, so he's starting from the back. Andy Lee with that brand new Bondurant Best IT Chevy Camaro. That Z28 as well had a power steering problem. He's starting in the back, so watch those 2 guys, that Aston Martin and that Camaro in the back. But what a great field. 20 cars here to set when the lights go out, all part of the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg for Pirreli World Challenge, race number 3 for our GTS.
Yeah, there was hardly any time at all yesterday between the practice and qualifying sessions. That TRG group are unable to get an Aston Martin repaired for qualifying, but Chris Wilson won the first round of the series this year.
And there is our green flag from Wick Long. If you watch the Willen lights on the left side of your screen, when those lights go red, when they go out, we go green. 50 minutes of Pirreli World Challenge action here for the St. Petersburg Cadillac Grand Prix. There is the green flag once again in the back for Rick Wong, waving that flag. Spoke with Dean Martin right before we were headed out for the green flag, and he said that he's on the right side. Lights are on, revs coming up, and we're green, underway. Dean Martin gets a great start after he said he was afraid of the water there on the inside. Michael Cooper balked a little bit, goes to the inside of the 2 Kias. Down here, what a great start from Dean Martin in that Picture Cars East, and Andrew Aquilante down to the inside. So that's Resitano. Aquilante getting a bad start.
It's Kurt Resitano from the outside of the third row takes second place into turn 1. A tremendous start by Resitano. And Spencer Pumpelly there, I spoke to him just a few minutes ago. He was a little bit nervous about this race. Didn't really know what to expect at the standing start or how the Pirreli tires work through a 50-minute race.
Saw Ben Klukas go to the inside to protect against Michael Cooper. Hit a big old puddle of water. Got to be careful there. What a great start from Chris Wilson. He's up 8 spots from starting shotgun on the field.
That is a remarkable start by Chris Wilson, and he's a massive amount of experience. Don't think he's raced here before though, so this is a steep learning curve for him. Just that one lap, not even a whole lap he completed yesterday in that Aston Martin, the 07 Aston Martin, so he's got a lot of work to do starting from the pack, but he's got enough experience to be able to just pick his way through the pack and not make any rash moves in the early stages.
Kurt Resitano, once again, that great start. Spencer Pumpelly down up to second place. Mark Wilkins to third. Klukas in fourth. You see the gaps there between that as they come down here, the final corner onto the straightaway here, which is really the landing strip here at Albert Whitfield Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Dean Martin in that picture cars East Mohegan Racing, Ford Mustang Boss 302 second. It's Mustangs 1, 2, 3, 2 Kias, and Michael Cooper in that Black Dog Speed Shop Chevy Camaro, your race 2 winner at Circuit of the Americas.
Boy, yeah, the Mustang seems to be the car to have here at the early stages, certainly, as we see there Andrew Aquilandi moving down to the inside to take over the 6th position.
Yeah, took that over from Jack Baldwin, who had a miserable qualifying session in that Reset MD Porsche Cayman. Says he's just not there, wheeling everything he can in that car. They went from a 640 size tire, 660 down to a 645 white tire, and that's in centimeters. So he's a little shy on tire size. A good shot there of Jack Roush Jr., your pole sitter at Long Beach last year. Really likes these street circuits, struggling here this weekend.
Good battling down the field. Lou Gilotti there in a 10th place in car number 28. That's an Aston Martin Vantage GT4, one of several of those cars in the field. And a little bit farther back, just 3 places back, is Chris Wilson in that 07 car. He's right behind his teammate Derek De Boer in car number 09, but Chris Wilson already up 7 positions on that first lap.
Yeah, great job for him. And don't forget, folks, that there is a race tomorrow for these guys as well. So we will see some good action, but you got to save the car for tomorrow's race. They go 2 weeks later, a month later here at Barber Motorsports Park, where we'll see our GTS cars once again. So a little bit of time. So I think today is going to be the relaxation day, and tomorrow is going to be no holds barred.
Well, you know, that's right. I mean, it's a season-long championship. There's a lot of points at stake here. The winner of each round gets 140 points. There's also 7 bonus points for pole position and all sorts of other bonus points for leading and setting fastest race lap. So there's a lot of points up for grabs. So the key here is consistency, scoring points. You don't want to go out of the race early because you need to make sure you score at least some championship points. The first couple of rounds at Barber, the veteran Jack Baldwin had all sorts of problems, but at least he scored a few points, Jeff.
Yeah, he was able to complete at least 50% of the race laps. It was 70% last year, but he got 50%. That Reset MD team really trying to recover, get as maximum points they can. Now remember, the first time Jack Baldwin made his debut here at St. Petersburg, doubled up on race wins, so he knows how to get around this. If they can get a good setup on that Porsche Cayman, that GT Sport Racing team, they will definitely be at the top of this field here tomorrow.
Still very early stages here. Just one more position made up on that lap by Chris Wilson, and Chris Wilson was the dominant car at Circuit of the Americas just a few weeks ago, and that 07 Aston Martin for TRG AMR, and he was absolutely stellar. In the dry conditions, he was unbeatable. In the wet, it was a major struggle for him. Finished way back in the pack in that second race, but he still leads the points coming into this weekend. A 12-point advantage over Michael Cooper in that number 10 Black Dog Speed Shop Chevrolet, and he was magnificent in the wet. He was hoping for rain this morning.
Yeah, they actually trying to put a rain setup on that car, hoping it was going to be here. 80% chance of rain today. It's holded off. It's held off so far. Here's a pass to the inside, trying to get it done. Spencer Pompelli, the inside of Kurt Resitano, not going to be able to complete it down there on the backside, turn number 5. But Spencer Pompelli at number 87, I-Track Zone Ford Mustang Boss 302. Limited schedule for this car. They missed the opening round at COTA, had a shipping problem with one of the race engines. Finally got that motor found, but this DWW Motorsports team looking for additional funding. They got a good shoe here behind the wheel. Was fastest in the practice session in that number 87 Mustang. Let's get them some money here so we can get them the rest of the year. And what a good shoe, Spencer Pompelli. This is his 3rd World Challenge start.
Yeah, but the other 2 way back in 2009. So 6 years since Spencer Pompelli was last in the Pirreli World Challenge, but loving this opportunity. He's never driven a Ford Mustang like this before, never driven on this racetrack, but really enjoying it and doing a great job. That DWW Motorsports team, they're from Boston area. They had to literally hire a snowplow to clear a way to get their truck out so they could come down here.
Well, Spencer Pompelli showing all that hard work that team did to get him out on this track is well worth the while. There's a good shot of Andy Lee in that Bondurant Best IT Chevy Camaro Z28, a brand new car built by 3R Racing, a staple in the Pirelli World Challenge is 3R Racing, and Andy Lee just had a car for 4 years. The car was getting a little tired. They came back, built this brand new car, making its debut. Teething problems with the power steering. He's up all the way to, looks like 16th place by starting 19th. So watch for Andy Lee once he gets a grip on that car. The first laps that car made here was this weekend.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, it turned a couple of laps, I guess, at the Bondurant School at the Firebird Raceway down in Arizona, where the team is based, but literally just a few shakedown laps. So, yeah, an awful lot to learn on that car. And Andy Lee, his whole goal for today's race is just learn about the car and try, if he can, to set a good lap time, because it's the lap times from today's race that will set the grid for tomorrow's fourth round of the GTS Pirreli World Challenge for 2015.
The way the standings set right now, your top three as they run would be Dean Martin, Spencer Pompelli, and Andrew Aquilante, first, second, and third on the grid for tomorrow. But we still got 43 minutes remaining in this race, so got plenty of time to see if some of these drivers can improve those lap times. We'll see a lot of the guys in the back, I think, near the end of this, try to get a better starting position if you did not get a good start here, as Andrew Aquilante down to the inside of Michael Cooper. He's going to take over that sixth place from that Black Dog Speed Shop Chevy Camaro, and boy, just motored right by him on the straightaway. Watch Cooper fight the wheel as he comes through turn number 1.
Yeah, that number 10 Chevy Camaro is a huge car compared to the Mustang, but it's very, very fleet round the corners. It's a bit of a brick on the straightaway, if you'll pardon the expression, because it has so much frontal area, and with the way the rules are set up at the moment, it doesn't have a particularly large engine restrictor, so it's certainly handicapped on the straightaway compared to that much sleeker, that much narrower Ford Mustang, which is much faster on the front straight. But through the corners, that Camaro really working well. And these two, the number 32 car and the number 10, that is respectively Andrew Aquilante and Michael Cooper, having a great battle now over 6th place.
All part of that Phoenix Performance group with Calvert Performance and Performance Ford helping that group. 4 cars here this weekend. I said it's a little bit of a vacation for you, as they had, I think, 6 cars competing at Circuit of the Americas. So a little vacation time for Phoenix Performance, but still 4 cars here this weekend with Kurt Resitano, Andrew Aquilante, and Preston Calvert doing double duty in our GT Cup by Momo that you'll see race number 1 here at St. Petersburg tomorrow.
So racing all the way down the field, he battles all the way down the field, but it's still Dean Martin who leads. Last lap around was the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 19.94 for Dean Martin. And that compares to the 1:19.001 he set to qualify that number 50 car on the pole position yesterday.
Dean Martin about a 1.3 second lead over Kurt Resitano currently. Once Andrew Aquilante got clear of Michael Cooper, he's closed right on the back of Ben Klukas, trying to give those 2 Kias around there. Some good support from GoPuck as well from Phoenix Performance, so they're really getting that team going. And I know Joe Aquilante has probably got his cell phone out right now watching the broadcast here so he can see all those cars and taking care of it. But Dean Martin, this guy is a street circuit machine. Now, sort of a hybrid street circuit here. This is not your traditional street circuit, Jeremy, as we have a lot of openings on this track, a lot of high-speed S's, that big, long straightaway. So I think the advantage definitely looks like it's going for the Ford Mustangs right now.
It certainly seems to right now. It's a really good street circuit, this, because there's a great mix of corners, some fast corners, some slow corners. You know, many street circuits are kind of all point and squirt and just 90-degree corners, while not St. Petersburg. It's a track that the drivers really enjoy. Coming now through the final couple of corners, well, leading into the final corner, that chicane there at turn 13 and 14 is a really good test of the cars and the commitment of the drivers through that right-left flick.
We see that's that battle we mentioned with Ben Klukas and the DonorsChoose.org Kia Motors America Kia Optima. Finished in the 2nd position at Circuit of the Americas, and race number 2 was really starting to work his way up to that lead battle on race number 2 with Michael Cooper in the closing laps. If he had a couple more minutes, if they were an hour-long sprint race instead of 50 minutes, he might have done that.
So 10 minutes gone now in this 50-minute race. There's still plenty of time to go. And at the lead of the race, it's still Dean Martin, a gap of maybe pulled out maybe a second and a half now. So 10 or 12 car lengths over the similar Ford Mustang of Kurt Resitano in 2nd place. Spencer Pompelli hanging on in 3rd. And then the 2 Kia Optimas. And the second of those Kias now, Ben Klukas, coming under increasing pressure from Andrew Aquilante, who did not make a good start, but is gradually working his way towards the podium positions.
Boy, saw Aquilante come off that corner there, lifted that left front inside tire on that Mustang, trying to get a run on Klukas. Got a little sideways and was not able to get alongside of him. And you see the gap now back to 3 car lengths. That's how much that little mistake cost Andrew Aquilante there, trying to run down for 5th place overall in this GTS race.
Good battles going on there, and certainly Andrew Aquilante had a really good first weekend with this car and this team at Circuit of the Americas just a few weeks ago. Had a 2nd place and a 3rd place finish, so those 2 podiums were enough to put him into the 3rd position in the championship standings after those first 2 rounds. Very tight at the front. And then Ben Klukas, a great debut also for the Englishman in the 2nd of the Kias. in that car number 38 taking over, car number 36 taking over this year from Nick Johnson.
You see Mark Wilkins there all over the ABS on that Kia, the rear end dancing around. Andrew Aquilante, it looks more of a when it's going to happen, not an if it's going to happen. He's right on the backside of these two Kias.
Yeah, he wants past, doesn't he, Andrew Aquilante? He's really got into his groove now, and Ben Klukas is not having to defend perhaps, but he's certainly got to have an eye on his mirrors, because Andrew Aquilante wants past. The battle coming through the kink there, up towards turn 10. Looks to the inside as Andrew Aquilante, but that slightly lighter Kia Optima able to brake a little bit later. Ben Klukas holds on to that fifth position.
Remember, this is a 4-cylinder turbocharged Kia Optima, front-wheel drive, a 5-liter Boss 302S Ford Mustang Camaro, front-engine, rear-wheel drive over that Kia, and battle there between drivetrains, car makes, and manufacturers is Spencer Pompelli closing up on Kurt Rezzitano now. 2.3 seconds was the gap. It's less than a half a car length on the exit of turn number 1.
Yeah, that's right, because Dean Martin's beginning to stretch his legs a little bit there, and coming through turns 2 and 3, Rezzitano's car, that number 37, that black and yellow Ford Mustang, is really beginning to hang that car. The car is set up incredibly soft. Really does seem to be rolling around much more than Spencer Pompelli's car number 87 for DWW Motorsports. And talking to Spencer just a little while ago, he was saying how much he enjoys driving this car because it is softly sprung compared to the car with which he is more used to. And this car really moves around, but he's got a really good feeling for it.
Got word from pit lane that Preston Calvert on the start had a clutch problem. He's all the way back in 20th place, probably not going to be able to recover from that on the start. So hurt the clutch on the standing start.
It's a shame for Preston Calvert. That's the yet another of these black and yellow Phoenix Ford Mustangs. So he's got a problem here, but his teammate, as we saw Kurt Rezzitano running wide the last couple of corners.
Yeah, Rezzitano got way deep in there in the inside. Pompelli trying to make the pass, got up on the curb, could not hold it. Great recovery from Kurt Rezzitano. We call him the shop boy there at Phoenix Performance. Was cleaning the shop, said, you know, I might want to do some racing here. Joe Aquilante put him in a SDCA major race. He went out and won his debut and is going to be a national champion here shortly, now racing in Pirreli World Challenge.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this opportunity too. Watching the cars there through turn 3 and 4, really wagging that inside front wheel way up in the air as that car's transition from the left to the right at turn 3.
Got Andrew Aquilante, got around Ben Klukas, so he is charging up to Mark Wilkins now. So those drivers, we did not see that pass, but Andrew Aquilante up to 5th place now in that Phoenix Performance. Started in 4th, unfortunately had a terrible start, worked his way back, trying to recover from that start right now.
And those two pulling away now from Michael Cooper. There's a big battle going on between Michael Cooper in that Chevy Camaro and the Ford Mustang of Andrew Aquilante a little earlier on, but now Aquilante has pulled well away from that battle, and he has got himself now trying to get himself onto the tail of the 4th place car of Mark Wilkins, the Canadian.
I really see Spencer Pompelli took a couple shots there at Kurt Rezzitano, didn't quite make it, fell back a little bit, but now starting to charge back through. Maybe just let those Pirelli P0 tires cool off just a little bit as both guys sideways coming onto the straightaway. Good stuff from both those Mustangs.
Weren't they just? And Rezzitano there, he's got a really late line into those last couple of corners, and Spencer Pompelli able to keep that number 87 car for DWW Motorsports much tighter. The iTrack Zone Racing car much tighter in those couple of corners, but it's Rezzitano who gets a run onto the straightaway and able to maintain his advantage.
What really tells you about the ability of Spencer Pompelli. Never been on this track, never driven the Mustang, fastest in the GTS practice, running 3rd place here, still getting to grips with that Mustang. You see him sliding a lot more than the other 2 cars. Probably just missed the setup a tiny little bit, as there it was, the number 07 Racers Group Aston Martin of Chris Wilson. Max Riddle scheduled to ride this car at Circuit of the Americas. Unfortunately got a I believe mono, unfortunately, so not able to recover from that yet. Chris Wilson, his teammate in the Continental Series, still coming out and running twice now. So this is his 2nd event here with the Pirelli World Challenge, sitting in 11th place, trying to run down the Aston Martin of Lou Gelati in that LG Motorsports.
Yeah, he's caught up with Lou Gelati, but now he's got to get past him. And Lou Gelati has, well, he's got a little bit of experience in this series. He's a 3-time champion. He's one of the older drivers in the field, but you wouldn't know it because his level of enthusiasm is just like a little kid. It's great to see.
Yeah, I talked to him in the press conference there at Circuit. time and loving it right now, sitting in 11th place, and a man that has a smile on his face all the time, Jack Baldwin in that Reset MD Porsche Cayman, still sitting back in the 8th position, wheeling it for all it's worth. There's a good shot at Jack Roush in that Roush Performance Ford Mustang Boss 302S, the number 60 Roush. Expected a little bit better from him. I haven't had a chance to come down and speak with him, so that Roush Mustang, hopefully good things coming for him in race number 2, or we'll see if he can dominate at Long Beach like he did last year.
Yeah, Jack Roush Jr., that car number 60, that Roush Performance Ford Mustang, he struggled at Circuit of the Americas too. As 9th in the first race, much better in the wet in the second, finished in the 5th position there, but certainly we would have expected to see that number 60 car higher up the order.
Good shot there with Forge Line. Also see a Watson Racing sticker there on Dean Martin's there, so we'll look for an announcement to come a little bit later to that, but spoke with Chuck Watson at the Performance Racing Industry Show in Indianapolis and looking for good things in Pirreli World Challenge. Was a past supporter of Alec Udell here in his Mustang. Alex moved up to the GT Cup by Momo in a Porsche 991 Cup car. So we'll see Alec Udell tomorrow in his race, qualified in the second position, I believe, in practice as well, was fast in his Porsche Cayman from Global Motorsports, or sorry, Porsche 991 from Global Motorsports Group. So Watson Racing, look for an announcement coming from that, and given a good show here, leading in the GTS class. And coming out of the last couple of corners, turns 13 and 14, in the 4th place car, it's still Mark Wilkins, and they've these two are quite a long way back behind the top 3 Mustangs, but now Mark Wilkins really is coming under pressure from Andrew Aquilante in car number 32. He's just slowly closing that gap. It's down to about a half a second. It was a little over a second 2 laps ago, so just chipping it away. Mark Wilkins going to be in a little bit of a defense mode here, I believe, starting next lap, is Andrew Aquilante closing the gap on the back of Mark Wilkins.
Last lap around for our race leader. We are now, 18 minutes into this 50-minute race. Last time around for a race leader, Dean Martin, was a 120.2. He lost a second to the 2nd and 3rd place cars on the last lap. We made some sort of mistake. We certainly didn't see it on screen, but the gap much closer last time around.
So far, a clear track for our leaders, and we got to think a little bit later in the stages, especially if we stay green here, Jeremy. We might start seeing some lap traffic play in this, and that changes the whole outcome here of sports car racing, getting those lap traffic.
Yeah, doesn't it just? And you know, it's a tricky racetrack, this, because we talked about it already. There's a good variety of corners. There are certainly places to make passes here, but even for the guys that are being lapped, going to go a lap down, they've got to pay attention to their mirrors.
I saw a really good different driving style and line style there from Mark Wilkins and Andrew Aquilante, with Mark Wilkins sort of squaring off and diamonding that last corner. Andrew Aquilante and most of the Mustangs, they're hugging the inside of that corner coming onto the straightaway, so the difference in the layouts of drivetrain between front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. But Andrew Aquilante starting to hound the back of that Kia Optima, see if he can get his nose tucked. He's going to look to the inside, put his nose there on the mirror, goes back out there. The battle is on for 4th place in GTS.
Yeah, turn 4 there. Certainly Aquilante there was thinking about trying to make a move down the inside, but Mark Wilkins late on the brakes in that red and white Kia, that turbocharged front-wheel drive car against that V8 muscle car of 32 car of Andrew Aquilante. Is a great battle between these two.
Yeah, donorschoose.org on that Kia, a great organization. Also have putonthebrakes.org, which is part of that Doug Herbert's foundation. So it really teaches kids about driver safety. So what 2 great organizations that Kia, that Kinetic Motorsports team all support. So go to your website there right now, putonthebrakes.org or donorschoose.org, make a donation, all tax deductible. Some great foundations from Kia.
A little bit farther down the order now, up into the top 10 has gone Chris Wilson. He's found a way past Lou Giolotti, the veteran there. Lou Giolotti in that car number 28. It's great to see that car has got these kind of traditional colors on this weekend. When he raced it at Circuit of the Americas, it was pretty much virgin white, I think it was. So now it's got his traditional black livery with the yellow flames coming out of the hood of the car. Really cool looking car. And Lou Giolotti, he's finally fessed up to his real age this year. He's all of a sudden aged 10 years, which is really what his proper age is. But real character, great to see him back in the sport.
Oh, absolutely. One of the great personalities, past multiple champion here in the Pirreli World Challenge. So happy to have him back. Ran his GT Aston Martin as well at Circuit of the Americas. Hopefully we'll see that car debut a little bit later. Didn't quite make the race on that. Had some teething problems with that V12 GT3 version of the Aston Martin. Oh, big sideways for Andrew Aquilante there. That's going to lose him under braking there. Just a little bit too much rear brake. Want to adjust that bias back a little bit. Don't need that as he's trying to battle with Mark Wilkins.
Yeah, down to turn 7 there. The back end of the Mustang just came around him in the braking zone, and boy, that would have been a scary moment there for Andrew Aquilani, but he's kept his foot in here. He's got off the corner. No harm, no foul, didn't hit anything. And he's got to catch up those couple of car lengths or more that he lost in that little sideways slide. But already those two pulling away now from Ben Klukas in the 6th position. Ben Klukas once again now beginning to come under pressure once more from Michael Cooper in that Chevy Camaro, car number 10.
Yeah, Michael Cooper, your winner at Circuit of the Americas in the rain. Camaro's just not quite up to snuff, it looks like, here on the straightaways down here on this big, huge runway. But there's a good shot of Preston Calvert, Dean Martin, your race leader now. So we're starting to get into this lap traffic. Of course, Preston Calvert, the Calvert Dynamics Phoenix Performance Ford Mustang having some problems. Jack Baldwin and Michael Cooper, that was a thought there. Jack Baldwin ahead of Cooper now in 7th. Not sure if Cooper's having a problem because he was right on the back bumper of Ben Klukas. And you see Klukas up ahead. There is the battle now. Jack Baldwin ahead of Cooper.
Yeah, some sort of a problem there for Michael Cooper. He's lost one position. We thought he was lining himself to make a pass on Ben Klukas, but indeed not. He's lost the position to Jack Baldwin. So Baldwin now up into 7th place at car number 73. That Reset MD Porsche Cayman, and behind him now is Michael Cooper. Then behind him is Jack Roush Jr. Behind Jack Roush Jr. is Chris Wilson, gradually making his way up this field.
Well, Chris Wilson into the top 10 now, picked up 9 positions. And don't worry, we have a little special awards as well of our VP Racing Fuel Hard Charger Award. The driver that picks up the most positions overall in a given race should be Chris Wilson. We also have our Optima Batteries Best Standing Start. And I know Chris picked up about 6 positions on that start, so I'm not going to call it yet, but watch out for those special awards here at the end to see who gets those. And Chris Wilson definitely in the contention for that, up into the top 10.
Yeah, really good drive by him. Just a sensible drive too. He's not hanging it out too much. He's not trying to be too bold. The key is to get some good points, finish well, and then get himself a good lap time and try and qualify well for tomorrow's race. And if I look at lap times now, it is still the fastest lap of the race was set on lap 5 by Dean Martin. He's 1 minute 19.841 seconds. He still is the only driver to get below 1 minute 20 seconds. Kurt Resitano very close behind him for 20.0. Spencer Papelli's best for 1 minute 20.4.
Good battle for 15th, heating up here with Tony Gaples in the Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro Z28, Andy Lee in his brand new Z28, and Mark Clennon in that invisible glass Aston Martin there back in 17th. Oh, big sideways for Jack Roush Jr. trying to battle with Chris Wilson. He got around him, was Wilson charging up into the top 10. Jack Roush just a little too exuberant there on that right gas pedal. Got in the gas there, got that Mustang sideways. Just about a minute away from halfway with 50-minute race, 25 minutes in the book here, almost halfway. So a lot of racing still to come. We've had a lot of action here in the first 25 minutes, Jeremy.
We have. It's been an exciting race, certainly for several positions, but Dean Martin, he's still got control of this motor race. He leads by about a second. That gap certainly has been diminished because for each of the last 3 laps, Kurt Resitano has got a little bit closer. There's that battle going into turn 1. Still the Kia of Mark Wilkins, who leads that battle, but right behind him is Andrew Aquilani in that number 32 Ford Mustang.
They got clear of Aquilante's teammate Preston Calvert there. Still having problems with his clutch. The report from pit lane is that it still unfortunately burned that clutch up as Andrew Aquilante pushes a little bit there in the braking zone, a little too deep. Lost a little bit of momentum there, and that's all of what this is, especially on a street courting, is that momentum around these tight corners. Try to get the power down as soon as you can. The Kia Optima doing everything he can with the front wheel drive of that Kia Optima.
There's a battle now for the lead coming through turn 10. We're heading through the chicane 11 and 12, that right and left flick leading into the final couple of corners, and then onto the main runway, the drag race down to turn 1. And they're a lot closer, these two, than they were 4 or 5 laps ago. Still a second or so between them. That white number 50 picture cars East Ford Mustang still leads from the Calvert Dynamics Phoenix Performance Ford Mustang in second place. Down towards turn 1 they go.
You see a good shot there of Spencer Pompelli. The gap back there was up battling with these cars to begin with. And unfortunately, here's Andrew Alcalante down to the inside into turn number 1. This is as close as he's been. He's going to stick it in there this time. Mark Wilkins, good gentleman driver there. Give him just enough room, but it looks like it's going to be a drag race out of turn number 1. Aquilante doesn't have it yet. Mark Wilkins sticking his nose here through turn number 3. It is Aquilante up to 4th place now.
Side by side they went through turns 1 and 2 there, but it is Andrew Aquilante who gets that position now. Mark Wilkins thought about trying to dive down the inside of turn 4, not close enough.
Yeah, we'll see if Aquilante now can pull away and try to run down Spencer Pompelli. It will be about a 4-second gap up to Pompelli in 3rd, who's starting to drop back, a 4-second gap over our leaders. So not bad for Pompelli when you come into the first time in this series, still in podium contention here with 24 minutes remaining in this race.
Fine effort by Spencer Pompelli. For this team, that's exactly what he needs to do. I think at this stage in the game, you know, he, like we said earlier on, he doesn't know how these Pirelli tires handle a 50-minute race. He's never driven them for that length of time, so there's a big steep learning curve here for Spencer Pompelli. Not much experience in this car maybe, but a lot of experience in racing cars in general, so at this stage he'll be biding his time. He'll be happy, more than happy, with 3rd place.
There's a good shot of your leaders once again with Dean Martin and Kurt Rezzatano. We're going to take a quick break. If you're watching live at worldchallengetv.com, stick around. We'll be right back.
On society really came about because, not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these.
Now's the time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, little less haste. 100 miles I'm running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time. Gotta move quick, gotta move faster. Wanna speed up, gotta move faster. Time is time, it has no master.
And welcome back to worldchallengetv.com. Our race broadcast here is Andrew Alcalante. A good replay here of the pass for 4th place over Mark Wilkins. You see him coming down into turn number 1. He's been doing that quite a bit, Jeremy, and each lap was finally able to stuff his nose in there and make it work.
Yeah, exactly. He'd been biding his time and waiting for the right moment. He seized that moment to perfection. Now already beginning to edge away from Mark Wilkins. So Andrew Aquilante up into 4th place, but he's got a pretty big deficit to the next car in line. He's got about 5.5 seconds to make up over Spencer Pompelli. But now we've got a Ford Mustang 1, 2, 3, 4.
Absolutely, good run from him. There's Dean Martin. That picture cars East got a chance to speak with Gino Lucci a little bit earlier, and he said, you know, I was watching the Circuit of the Americas race. He was unable to make it, the principal there at Picture Cars East. He says, I'm in my computer watching you, and you said, I really hope Gino's watching when I gave him a little shout out. And he said he started laughing. His wife came in and said, what are you laughing at? He said, you're not going to believe me if I told you that Jeff just talked about me. So we really appreciate him coming in here, part of all Grand Sanitation, helping out Rich Galineo's company on Dean Martin's car. So a lot of support for that Rahegan Racing Picture Cars East Mustang, and putting all that support to good use. Dean Martin, a street circuit machine, getting a double win at Detroit last year and leading overall here in our GTS, all part of the Cadillac Grand Prix of St. Petersburg.
The field's surprisingly spread out at the moment, I must admit, but we've got still just 1.5 seconds now between Dean Martin in the lead and Kurt Rezzatano in second place. But I mean, it's Chris Wilson, though, still moving his way forward. Up into 8th place now is Chris Wilson. He's got past, having got past Jack Roush Jr., also now found a way past that Black Dog Speed Shop Chevrolet of Michael Cooper.
And just got official word, our Optima Battery Best Standing Start Award did go to the driver of that Racers Group Aston Martin Pastime USA Vantage GT4 of Chris Wilson, picking up 7 spots on the standing start. I said he had a good start up to the 7th position for Chris Wilson, as Michael Cooper still battling there. Ben Klukas, we see problems for Ben Klukas. There's Derek DeBoer spun off in the S's there coming onto the straightaway, but Ben Klukas is a problem, drops back to 11th place.
Yeah, he's gone missing somewhere around this lap, because he was running pretty comfortably in the 6th position. Let's look at Spencer Pirreli coming through turn 8 at the far end of the racetrack from where the pit lane is. On his own now is Spencer Pirreli, under no pressure from behind. It's still big gap back to Andrew Aquilante, but
see Dean Martin there getting, and Kurt Rizzitano getting around the lap car of Jeff Reeves in that Shadow Works Best IT Camaro. And just, I know Harry Curtin can't make it here this weekend, and want to give a shout out to him from Best IT, the support he gives that team. Just want to say hi and come back to the racetrack. Harry Curtin, a competitor here in the Pirelli World Challenge. We want to see him back on one of these beautiful Camaro Z28s.
1 minute 22.0 there for our race leader Dean Martin. He's been actually surprisingly inconsistent on his laps, but mainly in the 21-second range. Last couple of laps there was a 1 minute 21.1, a 1 minute 21.4, and then a 1:22-second lap last time around, and that's now enabled Kurt Rizzitano to close in just a fraction perhaps, but still Dean Martin holding a pretty comfortable lead right now.
Well, when we say fraction, 25 hundredths of a second was the difference in lap times that last time by between Dean Martin and Kurt Rizzitano. Spencer Pirreli, yeah, he was only 7 hundredths of a second behind those two guys, the fastest man so far on the track. Currently, Andrew Aquilante starting to run him down, ran a 1:21.4. Still putting good laps down, trying to recover from that poor start in that number 32 Phoenix Performance Ford Mustang.
Yeah, big gaps farther down the bottom of the top 10. No sign then of the car number 36 of Ben Klukas. He had a great first weekend in the championship. Finished in the opening round in the fifth position it was in the first round, and a great second place finish in round 2 in the wet, set the fastest lap of the race there at Circuit of the Americas. So Ben Klukas came into this race in the 4th place in the championship points, ahead of Dean Martin, but he's going to lose some ground in the championship with this apparent problem here.
Yeah, Ben Klukas all the way back to 19th, so we'll see if Preston Calvert still running.
He's shown on one scoring system here as in the 6th place, and we haven't seen a picture of that car lately. We'll see if we can get a shot of him on screen, because on one of the scoring systems he's still in 6th place and the other one he's not.
Yeah, unfortunately,
one of them's right.
We have not seen a title for that, so we'll have to see which one is the proper timing and scoring. So we do apologize if you're watching live on your timing and scoring at world-challengetv.com. We'll try to get an update for you as soon as we can on where that Kia is. And there's Jack Baldwin. And it looks like it just reset itself. So Ben Klukas in that number 36, DonorsChoose.org, Kia Motors America. Oh no, and Andrew Aquilante stopped on the track in that Calvert Dynamics Phoenix Performance Mustang. Was running in the 4th position. You see a course worker, not sure where this is on the track. Looks like that's on the inside of turn number 1 there, Jeremy, if I kind of see the Corvettes right there. Yes, on the exit of pit out. Pulled right off on turn number 1.
Certainly seems to pull that car right out of the way. And it seems to be the end of the road. Does it not for Andrew Aquilante? He came across that line. The line okay on that last lap was a bit quicker than Spencer Pirreli still, but it looked like a problem. Now here is our race leader Dean Martin making a move on a lapped car of Buzz McCall. Buzz McCall, a teammate of Jack Baldwin, who is running in the 7th position.
Yeah, Buzz McCall goes way back with Jack Baldwin, was actually his team owner when Baldwin was running Trans Am. It's good to see those two drivers, all part of that GT Sport team, and Reset MD on the side of those, both Porsche Cayman S's, and Goldcrest Motor Support, Stop Tech, all supporting those two cars. But thank you so much for Reset MD here, 2 seasons long with Jack Baldwin and Buzz McCall, and I can't wait to see them back out the track with Reset MD.
Yeah, so apologies there for the to the Kia team if we gave you guys a bit of a heart attack there, because it appears now the score. Unfortunately, we don't have a view of the racetrack here, but Mark Wilkins, yeah, there's only a second or so between those two Kia Optas. We finally see a picture of the two cars on the track, and they are running now in the 4th and 5th places. And actually, Ben Klukas is not only is he not out of the race, he's actually closing a little bit on Mark Wilkins.
Well, I got to give him a props. Maybe he did move back to 19th and worked his way right back to 6th in one lap.
So.
Okay, never mind.
Good driver he might be, but not that good.
All right, well, I was just trying to give him a shout out. Once again, if you're watching live at world-challengetv.com or torque.tv, just got word from Steve Bottom. He's watching live all the way back in California, I believe. So got to give a shout out to Steve Bottom from Racer Magazine. Go ahead and grab yourself a subscription. You can see all the coverage on Racer Mag.
There is Kurt Rizzitano again. That gap between the 1st and 2nd place cars come down a little bit on that last lap. We've now got 26 laps completed by our race leaders. We are 35 minutes into the race, 14 minutes to go, so still Kurt Rezatano, he's got a chance here. Is he able to catch Dean Martin?
Well, he was 0.4 of a second quicker that time by, and I got to think that he just sort of was buying his time, saving something a little bit here at the end. And we've seen that a lot from Dean Martin. He'll be really fast early and then start to slowly just fade back, start to fade back. And I got to think Kurt Rezatano, with, like you said, 13 minutes remaining, it is not over yet.
No, I mean, these are muscle cars. They're not known as muscle cars for nothing, because they've got plenty of muscle and they're plenty of weight too. So they really do challenge the Pirreli tires, and you really do have to manage your tires around here. I mean, it's a great tire. It is consistent through a run, but if you overwork that tire, it's going to take its toll on you as a driver. That's where it's going to make. And there's maybe a second between those two cars as they flash across to complete lap 27 and down towards turn 1.
Saw Rezatano come through the S's there. Dean Martin just
a little bit quicker, just a tenth or two quicker in that kind of a 07 Aston Martin last time around.
A little less than 12 minutes remaining. Going to be being a mirror race here for Dean Martin in that Picture Cars East Mohegan Racing Ford Mustang. Kurt Rezatano, last time gap was only 0.8 of a second, and there is the gap on your screen. You see both those drivers starting to, as the wears out, start quicker than this lead pack. So we'll watch that 7th place Aston Martin. Can he get around Jack Baldwin and move all the way from 7th to 4th in the closing stages of this race? 8.5 minutes remaining.
Tremendous run by him. There's a quick look at Andy Lee too, who is in the 15th position, dicing away with Mark Clennon, and Mark Clennon goes out the inside there in that invisible glass Aston Martin. So that is a battle for position, and a really tight battle between the Aston and the Chevy. Whoa, Mark Clennon really sideways coming out of turn 2.
And Andy Lee just went right to the inside 4 wheels of that curbing there. Not sure if he got in the gas. It got a little bit loose. Thought the better part of Valor, instead of saving it and maybe spinning back to the left, just stuck it all over the curb, and no harm, no foul there. Didn't gain anything. We start to see the hood now popping up on Mark Wilkins there on the right side. There's Klukas down to the inside of his teammate, side by side through 1. Trying to do the over-under is Wilkins, but Ben Klukas battling his teammate up to 4th place.
That was a great move by Ben Klukas. Really incisive, dive to the inside, drive straight to the apex. No way Mark Wilkins can turn into that corner. Position gained there by Ben Klukas. Really, really good move. And now Jack Baldwin, he's having to, whoa, Jack Baldwin goes on the outside into turn 4. He goes round Wilkins, tried to go around the outside of Klukas. Jack Baldwin did an incredible job to get that car slowed down.
What a great job there as he makes that outside pass over Wilkins, and Wilkins loses a spot, almost lost another spot to Chris Wilson. He stuck his nose on the inside of turn number 5, trying to get around Wilkins. Boy, really snookered him there, went to the inside. Wilkins defended. Baldwin said, I'll just go right to the outside, kept his foot in it, and that Reset MD came in and made the pass for 5th.
Man, that stop take brakes on that Porsche came in. They were really taking a beating down there in turn 4. I thought Jack Baldwin's no way he was going to make it. Well, he did, and he made up 1 position, nearly made up 2. That's going to give him some food for thought the next time around, isn't it?
Yeah, still our battle for the lead. We talked about that with Dean Martin and Kurt Rezatano. Only 1 second separates these cars, and it's been like that the last 8 minutes, so no gaining or losing from either of these drivers as Dean Martin seems to be in control, having that pace here. As we look back down the straightaway, it is Klukas and Chris Wilson on the inside of Mark Wilkins, as Mark going from 4th back to 7th, coming down into turn number 1, all in 1 lap.
Wow. Mark Wilkins certainly would have expected that. Whether he's got some sort of a problem on that car, we don't know, but he certainly seems to be running at pace. He was at the same sort of pace on the front straightaway, so he doesn't seem to be losing there. But it's Ben Klukas who's taken up the cudgels now in the 4th position, but Jack Baldwin right behind him, not quite close enough that time into turn 4, and then just, well, maybe 4 or 5 car lengths behind it is the Aston Martin of Chris Wilson.
Well, 6 minutes remaining in this race, so probably about 4 or 5 laps, all that we're going to have left in this race. So Jack Baldwin is the man on the charge in that Reset MD Porsche Cayman S, up to 5th place, trying to see if he can squeeze out a 4th place, get as many points as he can. Looking at the qualifying times, however, he would be starting in the 5th position. Dean Martin, Kurt Rezatano, Spencer Pompelli, and Ben Klukas and Chris Wilson would be your top 5 in the starting position for tomorrow's race based on fastest race lap.
That's exactly right. So 32 laps now completed by our race leader Dean Martin. This big battle for 4th position comes into the final couple of the corners.
See a lot of lap traffic for this group here between 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and Michael Cooper in 8th. And Mark Wilkins is even going to have to start holding him off here as he's lapping about 0.8 of a second quicker. And you see that gap there, about 10 car lengths down for the Kia. Here's another replay coming off of the straightaway here. We'll see what we're seeing here. And there is, oh, right there, you see that mirror flying off of Mark Wilkins right up against the wall.
Using every inch of the road on the exit of turn 14. Exit goes the mirror.
That's about as close as you can get without touching the wall
well,
with the body of the car. Just shear the mirror right off.
Yeah, hopefully he didn't cause any more damage than that. If it's just the mirror that he lost, he'll be okay. But as long as he didn't get into the wheel arches as well, that's what you got to worry, because certainly Mark Wilkins now is falling back from this battle, but the battle is very much what it is going on ahead of him. It's Ben Klukas in car number 36, leads into turn 10. Jack Baldwin down to the inside.
Side by side here as they come on to Dan Weldon Boulevard. You see Ben Klukas losing a spot. He's going to lose another spot to Chris Wilkin. Motors right by him, so it is Jack Baldwin up to 4th. Chris Wilkin into Chris Wilson, 14 positions made up on this race, and it's not over yet, but Jack Baldwin, that Reset MD Porsche, came in up to 4th place. Great drive from Baldwin.
Absolutely superb. Great to see Jack here back on form, because he had a miserable weekend at Circuit of the Americas to begin this championship.
Martin Resitano, 8.8 seconds last time by. Resitano is going to have to start closing that gap if he wants to make a last-minute run. You see a couple lap cars just in front of this lead group. Will that play a factor here in the last couple of minutes of this race?
Yeah, we're into now inside the final 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes to go, so there'll be where are the race leaders coming in? Must be coming up towards the end of the lap right now. 33 laps completed. They don't think they get the white flag this time around, but probably just 2 laps to go, I would imagine. Here we are coming to the final corners now. 2 corners into 13 and 14. Martin, and it'll be as they come across the line a little bit, just about 3 minutes to go. So that'll be enough time for possibly 3 laps, 2 or 3 laps to go. We'll see whether we get the white flag next time around. They might be able to sneak across the line and get in 1 extra lap of racing as well. Certainly that is what Kurt Resitano wants. It is not, however, what Dean Martin wants, because still just about 1 second or less than a second between those 2 leaders.
Yeah, I know you got that on the radio saying, are we done yet? Are we done yet? Are we done yet? Please, white flag. Please, white flag, as you want this thing to be over when you're leading. When you're Resitano, you're hoping it goes for another hour.
That's exactly right. He's beginning to put the pressure on still.
Getting word from race control. 1 lap to go next time by. We'll see that white flag for Dean Martin as slowly catching that group there with Mark Clennon and Tony Gaples, 14th and 15th in this race.
We didn't see the move, but Chris Wilson is up into the 5th position. He got past Ben Klukas there, so the 2 Kias dropping back a little bit. Jack Baldwin up into 4th place in at number 73 Porsche Cayman, and the 07 Aston Martin of Chris Wilson into the 5th place, all the way from the back of the grid.
Not over yet as Dean Martin leading, coming down to the stripe. It will be 1 to go for that Rahegan Racing Picture Cars East. It's going to be exciting stuff as they come down into turn number 1. Lap traffic in front. Race is not over. I'm going to head down to Victory Circle to interview your winner. Not sure who it's going to be, and Jeremy will close it out live at WorldChallengeTV.com.
Yeah, the good news here is that Victory Lane is right next to us here, so he doesn't have to go very far, but this is a great battle, and Dean Martin has really managed this race extremely well. He has driven at a sensible pace. As soon as Kurt Resitano gets closer, then Dean Martin just seems to have a little bit up his sleeve. He can able to eke out just a little bit more of a margin. But as Jeff was saying, a couple of lapped cars in the middle there, or just ahead of them as they come into the final couple of the corners. So this is game on here for these final couple of laps. Final less than a mile now to go for Dean Martin. Comes out of turn 8 onto the back straightaway. 2 cars ahead of him. He's going to catch them probably, if not at the next corner, then going through the chicane and into the final couple of corners. So this is going to be worrying times here for Dean Martin. Turns into turn 10. He's still got 3 or 4 car lengths over the pursuing Ford Mustang of Kurt Resitano. Here they go through the chicane now, and Dean Martin is right with those 2 slower cars, and they are both battling amongst themselves as well. They've got their own battle for position going on right there for the 14th and 15th places, but off the final corner they come. Dean Martin leads Kurt Resitano. The checkered flag is in the air. The checkered flag waves, and Dean Martin takes that checkered flag. A magnificent victory for the car number 50 of Dean Martin. For the picture cars East Hagen Racing Ford Mustang Boss 302. This is his fifth victory in 20 starts in the Pirreli World Challenge. A fine race he has driven. He really did manage that race perfectly, because right behind him was the second place car of Kurt Resitano all the way through. Really no time to relax at all, but he was able to manage his pace a little bit, just to drop his lap times by just a few tenths of a second, and that was enough to give him a little bit of an edge, and when he needed, he could push a little bit harder. So Dean Martin, a fine victory. In the second place then will finish Kurt Resitano. In third place, all on his own there, for the DWW Motorsports Ford Mustang is Spencer Pompelli, making his first Pirreli World Challenge start in 6 years. Into the fourth place is car number 73, Jack Baldwin. Behind Jack Baldwin is the 07 of Chris Wilson. Behind Chris Wilson are the two Kia Optimas. Car number 36 is Ben Klukas, but getting between the two of them on the last lap of the race is car number 10 for Michael Cooper. So Michael Cooper finishes in 7th place. In 8th is Mark Wilkins. In 9th is Jack Rouse Jr. And rounding out the top 10 is Lou Gilotti. So round 3 for the Pirreli World Challenge in the GTS category is in the books. My name is Jeremy Shaw, and Jeff Lepper was with me for the call of this race. Thanks for joining us. A lot more action here at the racetrack throughout these 3 days of competition at the St. Petersburg Grand Prix. Glad you could join us, and we'll see you for race 2 for GTS tomorrow.
Its effects on society really came about because, not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these.
Now's the time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, less haste. 100 miles I'm running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time, gotta move quick, gotta move fast.